The regular meeting of the Aurora City Council for Monday, November 18th, 2024 is called to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Kaufman.
Here.
Councilmember Bergen. Here. Councilmember Coombs. Present. Councilmember Gardner.
Here.
Councilmember Hancock.
Here.
Councilmember Drinsky.
Here.
Councilmember Lawson.
Here.
Councilmember Medina. Councilmember Murillo.
Present.
Councilmember Stenberg.
Here.
There's a quorum.
Please join me in an invocation. O Lord, our God and our Father, we come to you and we ask that you would look upon this particular gathering tonight to keep us safe and guide us in our decisions. Bless our city with honorable citizens, industries, sound education, and good government. Unite our community together. Even though we come from different backgrounds, we pray that there be justice and peace in our city. Give the city council and citizens the wisdom, direction, and sensitivity to the business and proceedings before us tonight. Hear us, therefore, as we commit this meeting to the help of the community. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Executive session update. During the executive session, we discussed the annual council appointee performance review, a lease agreement, disposition of city-owned property, properties owned by CBZ, personnel matters. Land acknowledgement. The City of Aurora acknowledges that we gather on the territories and ancestral homelands of the Cheyenne, Ute, Arapaho, and Lakota peoples, past and present. We also recognize the 48 contemporary tribal nations that are historically tied to the lands that made up the state of Colorado. Indigenous peoples have remained committed to the stewardship of this land over many centuries. As these words of acknowledgement are spoken and heard, the ties that these nations have to their traditional homelands and to their vital place in the ecosystem are renewed and reaffirmed, and we are called to be better stewards of the land we inhabit, and as we continue to work to meet the needs of our entire community. Approval of minutes for November 4th, 2024. Motion is in order.
Mayor, I move to approve the minutes.
It's moved by Councilmember Sundberg, seconded by Councilmember Hancock to approve the minutes of November 4th, 2024.
Mayor,
Councilmember Bergen.
I need to abstain. I was not at that meeting.
Oh, very well. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of the minutes from November 4th, 2024.
Mayor Kaufman,
Mayor votes yes.
Councilmember Sundberg, Councilmember Murillo.
Yes.
The motion passes with 8 yes votes to adopt the November 4th, 2024 council meeting minutes.
Decorum statement. Council has created a public forum and wants to receive citizen input. Creating a public forum is not a legal requirement, but since Council has created that opportunity, First Amendment protections apply. This forum provides the most protection for free speech and is the most scrutinized speech by courts. You are asked to follow the same rules that Council follows. Attacks of a personal nature are not permitted. Causing a disturbance is not allowed. We ask that you respect those who are speaking, whether you are in agreement with the content or not. Outbursts from the audience are not permitted, and we request you refrain from clapping, snapping, cheering, or booing to allow anyone the opportunity to be heard. Council shall be given opportunity to address staff, to exchange contact information when the speaker is at the podium. Council may clarify statements related to any speaker's comments at the conclusion of public invited to be heard, but shall not enter into debate with the speakers. Public invited to be heard.
Albertus Simmons.
Giving honor to God. First of all, I didn't think I would be back here in an official capacity because we were set to go to trial September 23rd of this year, but our attorney contracted COVID, and so the trial was moved to January 6, 2025. I'm here as the official spokesperson for Preston Nunn, Preston Nunn, as you all remember, was stopped in a traffic stop by the Aurora police. When he got out of the car, he was tackled. He was beat down to the white meat of his head. He was hog-tied and tasered 5 times and drugged to the ambulance. And while he was being drugged, the aggressive officer, Officer Nestor, told him, "I should have shot you." Aurora, you have one of the worst perceptions across the country as hating black people. You all have a disdain about black people for whatever reason, I don't know why. But at the end of the day, I'm very concerned about what's going to happen on January the 6th. Why? Because you all, the judge, he dismissed the jail time on the paramedic that was convicted in the killing of Elijah McClain. He just removed that jail time. Then, when it came to Kylan Lewis, you all, the prosecutor said he wasn't going to prosecute. Then, I understand recently here, the police says he didn't do anything wrong. So now we come to Preston Nunn. And we've been fighting this battle for 4 years. It'll be 4 years in January. All through the summer, I came in front of you all. At the end of the day, Aurora, when are you going to work to change your image about the hatred you show and you portray of black people? You have an opportunity January the 6th to do that. You have an opportunity to do the right thing. You really do. But so it's about responsibility. At some point, people who are listening to me, you all have to hold Aurora, the city of Aurora, the city council people, and the Aurora police accountable. And that's what you all are not doing. Black people are being shot down and killed in the streets of Aurora. We're getting beat down to the white meat of our heads. Why? It's a shame. And I just ask that you all, somehow or another, Aurora, make the right decision January 6th. We want justice.
I'm sorry, I forgot to state when you approach the microphone, please state your name and whether or not you're a resident of the city of Aurora.
Preston Nunn?
No.
No. Median Schaffner?
Bull Connor, Commissioner of Public Safety in Birmingham, Alabama, infamous for using brutal tactics against civil rights activists. George Wallace, Governor of Alabama, symbol of segregationist resistance. Jefferson Davis, President of the Confederate States, fighting to preserve slavery. Lester Maddox, Governor of Georgia, staunch segregationist. Margaret Mitchell, author of Gone with the Wind, which romanticized the antebellum South and slavery. Eugenia Price, writer who promoted the idea of the Lost Clause, glorifying the Confederacy. Kate Field, journalist and author who perpetuated racial stereotypes in her work. Roger B. Taney, Chief Justice, declared Black Americans were not citizens in Dred Scott versus Sanford. Nathan Bedford Forrest, Confederate General and first Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. D.W. Griffith, filmmaker, directed The Birth of a Nation, glorifying the Ku Klux Klan. All of these individuals have a legacy. Each of them, based on the way that they engaged with community, are now names that I can call out in 2024, and their reputation precedes them. But the funny thing is more than likely while they were living out their purpose, they didn't realize that in 2024, we would call on their names as an example of what not to be. Each of you is living out a purpose, and it might feel like people are not going to remember. But I can assure you that people are going to remember. That is one of the reasons that we continue to show up, so that your history is written. You don't get to hide from your legacy. Jason, you don't get to hide from the fact that an investigation ran under the murder of Kylan Lewis, only to render that Officer Michael Deke gets to be an officer yet again. This family now has to live under the notion that when they call the police, it might be Officer Michael Deke that shows up for them. How in the hell can we ask them to be in community with someone that decided that their loved one didn't have value? And the silence from those that this might tickle just a little bit, your legacy is also being written. You as a council hid behind this due process. An investigation is going on. We have to let the investigation happen. Well, that's over now. So I wonder, what is your legacy going to be? Because I can assure you, I'm going to make sure that people don't forget. That is the one thing that you cannot take away from community. We will never forget.
Pamela Howard.
And please state your name and whether or not you're a resident of the city.
My name is Pamela Howard, and I'm unincorporated Arapahoe, Aurora resident. So I'm here today to remind you guys that leadership is not about comfort, it's about courage. By reinstating Officer Michael Deke, you are asking the Lewis family to endure an unimaginable burden to coexist with the man who killed their son, their brother, their loved one. What does it say about our values as a city, about your values as council members, when we protect an officer who failed to see Kylan Lewis as a human being? Gunning down someone who had his hands up is murder. Do we measure justice in terms of legality, or do we also hold space for morality and accountability? If we allow this officer to return to duty, as the council or leadership has, we tell the Lewis family and every marginalized family in the city that their pain is irrelevant, that their lives are negotiable. You basically are telling us that we are not safe in this community, that our lives do not matter. You ask them to trust a system that has proven unworthy of their faith. The weight of this story rests on your shoulders, just like it does the city manager and every entity that is a part of this leadership structure. History will not be kind to you if you remain silent and inactive. Will you uphold justice and humanity, or will you continue to allow a system that protects its own at the expense of the people it serves? I implore you to let this not be another chapter of injustice. Let this city stand for what is right, not just what is easy. It's been 179 days that Kylan's family have had to suffer. 179 days that Kylan has received no justice. It's been 179 days that Aurora Police Department has continued to be a menace to our community and, quite frankly, our thugs. It's been 179 days since Kylan has been able to hug his children and his family. And I hope that it will be 179 days that the council members have no peace or rest until you act upon this injustice. And for each day that you continue to not act, I hope that that's another day that you have no rest and no peace.
Portia Terrell.
Portia Terrell. I am not a resident of Aurora. I am a resident of Douglas County, where we don't seem to have this problem. We don't seem to have a problem with police officers unjustly killing anybody, anybody. So we'll start with Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Until Black Lives Matter, no lives matter, not yours. And that's sad to say. You know, I've been waiting for my opportunity to come up here. I didn't really know what I was going to say. I really didn't, because I don't know what to say. Aren't you guys tired? Aren't you tired? Do you not realize that unless you decide to do something, we're going to be right back here again? What if it's your family, your child, your brother, your sister, say her name's Sandra Bland? But maybe you don't think it'll happen to you. Maybe you don't think it'll happen to someone in your family. You know, I worked from home today. I live in Castle Rock. Yeah, I drove all the way up here. Thankfully, I have a tribe of people to let me know about this kind of stuff. You know, I guess we're not George Floyd. Guess we're not, I don't even know, the countless names of Black men, women, minorities, white people, Hispanic people, Asian people. I don't care what color you or they are. It doesn't matter. Kylan had no gun. He had no gun. What was Aurora and Denver doing together? You know, I don't even know. That's in the past. We're here today, Monday, November 18th, 2024. Here we are. So you can decide, either sit back, do nothing, say, oh, I don't have any power. I guess you don't. I guess your voice doesn't matter. So Mayor Mike Kaufman, Jason Batchelor, City Manager, Angela Lawson, Ward 5. I don't even know where is Ward 5? And why doesn't it? Allison Coombs at large. I don't know where Ruben is. Steve Sundberg, Ward 2. Stephanie Hancock, Ward 4. Pete Schulte. Yeah, City Attorney, you're new, right? You just got sworn in?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Francois Bergen, Ward 6. Don't know where Crystal is.
Not here to answer questions. Please proceed.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Your name is not Francois. If I said her name wrong, I think she can correct me. Michael. Curtis Gardner. Daniel Dorinsky. Thank you.
Kiowa Lewis.
Don't react. I need to tell at the end. You can do stuff.
You know, I've never seen so much hate in my entire life. I hear you, Mike Kaufman, you say this prayer, right? But I want something to kind of stick with you, because the same God that you say you believe in, he also tells us, depart from me, for I never knew you. Well, with the hate that you guys provide and display, God tells us to love, right? This is not love. 2 nights ago, my daughter gets up and she's crying, right? And she goes, I miss my Uncle Kylan, as I am like, what is going on? Well, with that being said, as a father, I have to actually comfort her, and I have to come from a spiritual mindset and let her know that, you know, these people that are in these positions seem to lose sight of what it is that God calls them to do, right? Y'all could be part of the process that God is lining y'all up for when that day does happen. We don't exhibit hate. That's not us. That's not my family. That's not my brother. You know, so when I stand up here and I talk to each and every last one of y'all, I come from a place of love, and I have to love y'all because God tells us to. In addition to that, I will say that there's so many things that you guys have taken, well, you have allowed, because nobody's really stood up. And then the people that do stand up, you got more people that outweigh them that actually tell them that their voice doesn't matter, and that's not cool. I know there's some good people here. I know all y'all are not, you know, full of hate. I know that. I'm not stupid. But at the same time, when you got people who embrace hate the way that it has been embraced, this officer should have never got back up here and should be serving. I respectfully talk to y'all because y'all are human beings. Y'all are all children of the Most High, right? So I have to love each and every last one of y'all. I don't hate you. I don't. But I will say that there's a far worse judgment than anybody and anything that I could ever do to those who actually back this type of hate and still allows them to be on the police force. So with that being said, I just want to take a moment and let y'all know, for those who did back this, I forgive you. I do. I have to. I have to. Because the kingdom is coming. Things are about to start happening. Y'all think that this president, Trump, got in presidency for a reason? Y'all have no idea what's really about to happen. I yield the rest of my time right now, and I hope that sits in with y'all, that I have to cater to my niece and nephew and daughter and let her know.
Tanya Tabachek.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I know what I'm about to say is not that important, but 2 weeks ago, like 2 Sundays ago, I was driving by Concord, and again, there was over 150 cars in that parking lot, and spinning around, racing, and so forth. And I know a lot of times that the cops try to get there as soon as they can, but they even go through our neighborhood, speeding, and there's a school right in our area. So no matter day or night, they're racing through our streets, racing through our neighborhoods, and so forth. And I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. Again, I know this is not that important, but I just feel like it was important in my area where I live, the citizens where I live. Thank you.
Justina Medinska.
Well, good evening, Mayor, City Council. I appreciate that we have a guest from Douglas County. I'm sorry, Aurora City resident, my apology. I appreciate we have a Douglas County person coming here, but I think we have to address our City Council with respect. We don't do threats, and we respect each other. So I believe that was very highly improper what she did. I don't appreciate it. This is our city. We have our rules, and we're supposed to respect each other. Ms. Murillo, I have to say you've very been effective in Ward 1. Ms. Urinsky, thank you so much for your work, whatever you do with us. I have to notice that we have a little bit more presence of the police department actually in Ward 1. We have less shootings since election. I don't know what happened, but it's become a little bit more quiet. Also, we still don't have a light on 11th Street when you're passing Dayton and 11th, so it's still a very dark area, and I think it has to be very important because there's a park and people walking their dogs, and it's really, really dark and very dangerous. What else I want to say? We have a presence of the police much more in school districts, above schools. They're really patrolling very well what's going on, what's happening. I think because of the school, it's happening right now. and I think there's much more improvement. Also, I noticed that we have less cars with no plates on it, but we have more cars right now parked on the streets with no plates on it. So question again is, do we towing them? Are we leaving them? They're damaged, they're missing parts, so they're kind of like a danger, almost look like a scrapyard. It doesn't look in the city, so maybe something to think about it. But like I said, thank you so much for your hard work. I know this job is challenging. I know you're not make everybody happy. There will be always challenges with that, but thank you so much again. Thank you.
Victoria Cagano.
Oh, could you, Katie, could you give me your contact information on the motor vehicle registration issue?
Yes.
Hello, my name is Victoria Kagandine. I'm not a resident of Aurora, I'm a resident of Centennial. And this is my third time here, and I still can't believe that everyone has such a quiet face and that people don't flinch. Because after 179 days of waking up with that pain that extends back centuries, if you know, this type of conversation just happens again and again. The first thing that came up for me when I looked up Officer Deke's name was an article about Kyle Vinson, who was beat repeatedly on the head with a pistol, bleeded for his life, and as he was covered in blood, was tased by Officer Deke. APD then found that reasonable within their own investigation and didn't even press charges, or he had nothing held against him. I can't understand how you don't flinch at that, and I can't understand how the injustice of that doesn't weigh at your soul, because I'm a teacher myself, and the 2 times I ever have to lie to my kids is during a shooting drill, where I tell them they're going to be safe no matter what, and when I tell them that when they call 911, the police are going to help them, and I don't trust that. I don't trust that if APD allows officers like Officer Deke to go through with that. And it says right here, the badge should symbolize trust, but in this case, it represents terror. To reinstate Officer Deke is to affirm that Kylan Lewis's life, his future, was less valuable than an officer's career. And I ask you to reject this reinstatement and join us in our disdain, to use your platform to be a voice and prove that this city values life and justice over fear and complicity. I would like to use the rest of my time to hold a moment of silence for Kylan Lewis. It is the absolute bare minimum you can do to please hold that silence.
Tristan Hurst.
Hi, I'm Tristan. I am a resident of Aurora. I'm back, again. I'm back to talk to you tonight about the same thing we have been for weeks now. APD's consistent use of brutal and lethal force against the citizens it claims to protect. Going into this holiday season, it is tragic to think of the families that will have a hard time celebrating because of the void left in their lives because you and your choices. Within the last 6 months, 2 of our citizens were gunned down without being given a chance to comply. the details of their deaths shrouded by propaganda and lies. Shame. Shame. Kylan Lewis and Corey Dillard deserved to live. Their families deserve to be able to hear from them this holiday season. Instead, there is not one, but 2 different homes that will have an empty seat at the Thanksgiving table. 2 empty spaces beside 2 different Christmas trees. 2 sets of children that will not have a father. 2 sets of parents that no longer have a son. Nieces, nephews with no uncle. 2 sets of siblings all missing their brother. Regardless of the guilt you try and paint on them, they were Aurorans, and they were Americans who had a right to a trial. To deny them this is to deny their rights as Americans. You have the audacity to keep the pigs who did this on shift, on our streets. Shame. 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 Why won't you release the body cam footage of the murder of Corey Dillard? The Dillard family wants it released. Why won't you tell us the names of the officers involved? You certainly have a lot to say about it, a lot to say to the local news outlets. You tell them that lethal force is okay because there was a hospital and a school that has been defunct and empty for over 2 years. They have no problems telling these lies, yet time after time our core requests for information are denied. You obfuscate the truth by keeping it classified. These officers are a threat, especially since you deemed them worthy enough to give them the gun back to them and put them back onto full shift, back onto our streets, where they now know that they can do this again. Shame. Shame. And to think that both families found out about this verdict from the news, of all places. They were not notified by you, the people who chose their murderers dressed in blue. No, you are too much of a coward to tell them that their sons are nothing to you, that their deaths aren't worthy enough to change such obvious fundamental flaws in your system. How do you and your racist asses sleep at night? Any normal person, any person that gave one single iota of a shit about their constituents should be up day and night trying to fix this. Instead, I'll give you a suggestion. We need a citizen-run, community-elected council that has the absolute power to independently investigate cases of police brutality, as well as the power to fire these bastardizations of justice. The people will only be safe when our peacekeeping forces are that in more than name.
Jeffrey McFarland. Jeffrey McFarland.
Good evening, Council. My name is Jeffrey McFarland. I am an Aurora resident, Ward 1, Dallas Street, actually, if anybody was curious as to who actually lives in Ward 1 in this conversation. I understand that the entire very nature of the tribe, as we'll say, seems antagonistic. I understand that there aren't many reasons, presumably, for you to calmly hear me out or hear a word I have to say, considering the degree of vitriol. I'm not going to lie to you and say that I believe that it's undeserved, but in the spirit of meet in the middle somewhere. There's a few things that I think we could move toward as solutions to problems. That I think that the fact that there aren't solutions to these problems already is a huge oversight, bureaucratically, law enforcement-wise, financially, any other way you can possibly imagine. Why do families who have their family members taken from them by our state-sanctioned peacekeeping forces continue to find out that there will be no charges pressed or no further action taken on the news? The local news? Really? Like, I get it. I get that some of you think that these people deserved to die. You won't say it. You won't say it out loud. We know you think that. For those of you who don't, or even for those of you who are going to pretend for a minute that, like, pigmented people are people, that why do they find out on the news? The news, the district attorney can't call them, the police department can't call them, nobody else can call these families. Like, they deserve to hear it from someone. Someone should carry the weight on their shoulders of making a phone call and telling these people, no, we are not going to be pressing charges. Kindly take your stuff and go somewhere else. Is that not the bare minimum? Just the barest of minimums. Like, have somebody let these people know And that's a singular problem. That's a singular problem in a system that seems to be working as intended for some people. I just don't understand, the sheer nature of it comes across as antagonistic because of the sheer degree of which there has been no compromise offered. Standing up to say you think that Kylan Lewis deserves to still be alive, well, yes, thank those of you that stood. That is not even beginning to touch the bare minimum. Is there no bottom here? Anything, any steps? Has anybody discussed anything with any of these families? What about all that millions of dollars of money that the police force are getting? Is any of that going towards mental health assessments, sensitivity training, de-escalation training? I'm just saying, we're gonna keep having this dialogue week and week and week and week. So maybe we should try to come up with some actual answers. Or we can just keep doing this every week. Because I don't mind getting up here and telling everybody about themselves. In fact, this is me being quite mild about it. I will say again, I'm from Ward 1. Please just consider what I have to say. Thank you.
Angelia Baker. Angelia Baker.
Oh, it is? But did some more sign up? Oh, that's right, there's a deadline.
I'm a resident of Arapahoe County, as that is where I'd like to identify going forward instead of the city of Aurora. Lady Liberty has taken off her mask and put back on her hood. There is no liberty and justice for all. It's more like liberty and justice for who? The disappointment of this council weighs heavy on my heart. And this is why the country is so divided. Being present in these council meetings only confirms what I've always known. How you represent our city as city leaders is embarrassing. In planning sessions, you fight like loose alley cats, only to conform to a bully with blonde hair, braces, and BBB qualities. And for those that don't know what BBB qualities are, in the words of my Sarah, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett from the great state of Texas, beach blonde, bad-built, butch body. You refuse to respond to residents, Angela Lawson. Even when I followed the proper protocol, wrote you a letter, never heard back. Because you're too worried about aligning with bullies on your council that have BBB qualities. But yet you judge your residents for supporting the Lewis family.
No personal attacks, please. Proceed.
But yet, excuse me, I have the floor. Quiet. But yet, you judge your residents for supporting the Lewis family when they are asking just justice for Kylan. You truly want to help Chief Chamberlain by not releasing the full body cam. And this is who the council appointed. You agreed to it. And for those residents that like to interrupt me when I'm speaking, and I gave you the respect and have made negative statements on the Nextdoor app about the family of Kylan Lewis and the supporter of Kylan Lewis, you just watch and wait. January 20th is right around the corner, and you will wish that minorities, black, brown, indigenous, gay, straight, were supporting you. We've survived this before, and I yield my time.
That was the last individual.
Question before us is the adoption of the agenda, and a motion is in order.
Mayor,
Councilmember Coombs.
move to adopt the agenda as written.
Moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by?
Bergen.
Seconded by Councilmember Bergen. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of the agenda.
Mayor Kaufman.
Mayor votes yes.
Councilmember Hancock.
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo.
Yes.
The motion passes with 9 yes votes to adopt the agenda.
Next question before us is the adoption of the consent calendar on motions, item number 10C1 through 10C5.
Mayor,
Motion is in order.
motion to approve 10C1 through 10C5.
Moved by Councilmember Bergen, second by Councilmember Jurenski to approve the consent calendar on motions, item number 10C1 to 10C5. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the consent on the adoption of the consent calendar on motions, item number 10C1 and 10C5.
Mayor Kaufman.
Mayor votes yes.
Councilmember Hancock. Thank you. Councilmember Murillo.
Yes.
The motion passes with 9 yes votes to adopt the consent calendar for motions.
Next question before us is the adoption of the consent calendar on resolutions and ordinances. Item number 11, 11.1 to 11, oh, wait, that must be wrong.
Yeah, 11B1 to 11B13.
11B1 to 11B13.
11A1
Oh, 11A1
Sorry, 11A1 to 11B13.
to 11B13. Motion is in order. Councilmember Coombs.
Move to approve the consent calendar, items 11A1 through 11B13.
Moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by
Mayor, second.
Councilmember Lawson to approve the consent calendar on resolutions and ordinances, item number 11A1 to 11B13.
Mayor,
A discussion, yes.
I'd like to pull 11B1.
Okay.
Do I need a second?
Second.
Okay. Then the question before, do I do that first?
Yeah,
11B?
do the consent calendar first, yeah.
No, oh.
To 11A1 through 11B1.
Okay. Further discussion on adoption of the consent calendar resolutions and ordinances. Item number 11A1 to 11A17 and 11B2 to 11B13. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of the consent calendar as amended.
Councilmember Lawson.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Murillo.
Yes.
The motion passes with 8 yes votes to adopt the consent calendar for resolutions and ordinances with item 11B1 removed.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 11B1.
Item 11B1 is finalizing of ordinance 2024-67, amending ordinance 2022-77 related to Article 5, employer occupational privilege tax, and Article 6, employee occupational privilege tax of Chapter 30 of the City Code of the City of Aurora and other related matters.
Mayor.
Motion is in order.
Yes, Mayor, I would like to make a motion to table this item indefinitely.
It's been moved by Councilmember Bergen, second by?
Hancock.
Second by Councilmember Hancock to table item number 11B1 indefinitely. Discussion?
Mayor.
Councilmember Coombs?
I just want to note that it's extremely disappointing that we're in this situation of not having been able to decide that we need to have these $6 million in our budget for fire stations and fire station operations, or for any of the other very many expenses that we could have used these funds for. It's disappointing that we made that decision to begin with to end the occupational privilege tax it's disappointing that we are continuing to decide that this is what's best for our city when we know that we are consistently under budgetary constraints. And it's certainly disappointing, the amount of folks that change their minds on supporting the reinstatement of or the repeal of the repeal, I guess. So just, I hope folks take note when we don't have the infrastructure improvements we need, the fire response times we need, the services to our community that we need, that this is because of decisions that our council made and then chose to reaffirm. And I will be voting no.
Further discussion?
Mayor?
Councilmember Lawson?
No, Hancock.
Oh, Councilmember Hancock, I'm sorry.
I believe in principle, and with this occupational tax was repealed, and the council voted on it, and I don't believe we should go back on our promises. And on principle, I voted against it, and I continue to vote against repealing the repeal. Further, I think that the fire stations and safety are ultimately very important, and we should have those. But we should take a harder look at our budget and the monies that we have available and find the funds to do this. We've had fire stations, and they've been in need for some 20 years, and to wait to the 11th hour and then repeal a promise that we made is unprincipled. And from my perspective, I would not and will not support that. I think it's important for us to find the money, and we will do that. We'll work hard to do that, and I think the commitment from our city manager and our budget department will enable us to do that.
Further discussion? Seeing none, question before us is the adoption of, is the motion to table item 11B1. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the motion to table.
Councilmember Murillo?
No.
Councilmember Lawson?
Yes.
The motion passes with 5 yes votes and 3 no votes from Councilmember Coombs, Councilmember Gardner, and Councilmember Murillo to table item 11B1.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 13A.
Item 13A is introduction of ordinance 2024-80, appropriating sums of money in addition to those appropriated in ordinance numbers 2022-59 and 2023-12 for the 2024 fiscal year.
Brief presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. I'm Tyler Phillips. I'm a budget program manager in the budget office. As you've likely seen from the fall supplemental documents included in your packet, this supplemental consists of a relatively small number of requests across multiple funds. As we always like to say in the budget office, our goal is to avoid surprises in the supplementals, and this year is no exception. Most of the requests align with the 2024 projections outlined in the 2025 proposed budget, and there are no significant surprises. The few items that were not projected are technical adjustments to accommodate new grant revenue and have no net impact to the fund balance. Key areas of focus include capital project adjustments, especially in Aurora Water, and new appropriations for infrastructure improvements in public works. Rather than go through each request in detail, department representatives are available to address any specific questions that you may have.
Questions to staff? Seeing none, a motion is in order.
Mayor,
Councilmember Coombs.
move to approve item 13A.
It's moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by
Sundberg.
Councilmember Sundberg to approve item number 13A. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of item number 13A.
Councilmember Murillo?
Yes.
The motion passes to adopt item 13A.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 13B.
Item 13B is introduction of ordinance 2024-81, amending Section 2592 of Article 5 of Chapter 2 of the City Code pertaining to fixed asset inventory.
A brief presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is Nancy Wishmeyer, City Controller. And this item is to change the fixed asset inventory of City Code. And the change is due to a recent update made to the Federal Uniform Grant Guidance issued by the Office of Management and Budget. The guidance updates increases the capitalization threshold for federally acquired assets from $5,000 to $10,000. And while there's no requirement for the city to increase its capitalization threshold, city staff determined it would make a lot of sense for the cities and the federal thresholds to match. So we propose that the city's capitalization threshold for equipment and federally acquired assets be increased to $10,000. This is a prospective change only, so we're not going to go back and change assets already placed on the books or write anything down or write anything off. This will just be for new purchases going forward. Does council have questions about the code change?
Questions to staff? Seeing none, a motion is in order.
Mayor,
Councilmember Coombs?
move to approve item 13B.
It's been moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by
Mayor, second.
Councilmember Lawson to approve item number 13B. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of item number 13B.
Councilmember Murillo?
Yes.
The motion passes with 8 yes votes to adopt item 13B.
Will the clerk now read the title to item number 17A?
Item 17A is determination of final candidates to be interviewed for the at-large council member vacancy.
Mayor, real quick, can we just briefly go back to 11B1? Because it was a motion to table, for the record, we just need your vote, Mayor.
Oh, Mayor votes yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Katie.
Thank you.
I'm in trouble.
Both in trouble today.
Okay, will the clerk please read the title to item number 17A?
Determination of final candidates to be interviewed for the at-large council member vacancy.
Motion is in order.
Mayor?
Councilmember Bergen.
Yes, I make a motion to interview the top 3 vote getters, which include Jonathan McMillan, Amsalu Kasau, Danielle Lehman.
It's been moved by Councilmember Bergen, seconded by Councilmember Hancock to take the top 3 in the, what do we call it?
Ranking.
In the tally.
Of the 5.
Top 3 to interview.
Mayor.
Discussion?
Sorry, Mayor.
Councilmember Coombs.
I guess I'm concerned about that, the many times in which we've interviewed only 3 candidates, even for boards and commissions, let alone something as important as a council member vacancy. We've ended up not super pleased with the results. We've had situations where none of the 3 ended up really impressing the council, and we ended up appointing folks that maybe hadn't really risen to the top. So I would rather interview 5. I don't know if you would take that as a friendly amendment, Councilmember Bergen.
What 5?
Just the top 5.
There are no, there's a tie between 3 of them.
Oh, I didn't
So you'd
notice
either have
that.
to
Then we'd be at
shrink or
6, and we'd
expand
be
the
here
number.
for about 5 hours before proceeding the meeting.
Mayor?
Oh, wait, Councilmember Coombs, what do you want to do?
I mean, I guess we could expand it to 6 so that we're not being arbitrary. I just am concerned because, again, we've multiple times had 3 be not enough folks.
I'm sorry, I would not be amenable to 6. I just think it's too many with our time frame.
I'll second that.
So a substitute motion then for Councilmember Coombs?
I mean, I don't think we need to waste everyone's time going through a vote that's going to fail for the 6, so we'll stick with the 3.
Okay, very well. Then the question is discussion Who seconded your, Councilmember? Oh, Councilmember Drinsky. Further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the Bergen motion to interview the top three.
Mayor Kaufman,
Mayor votes yes.
Councilmember Murillo.
Yes.
The motion passes with 8 yes votes, 1 no vote from Councilmember Gardner to interview Jonathan McMillan, Amsalu Casa, and Danielle Lehman for the at-large councilmember vacancy.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 17B.
Item 17B is discussion and possible action regarding future in-person or virtual council meetings.
This is just a placeholder in case anybody on council wanted to make any changes. I don't think there would be any, but this is your opportunity for next time's meeting.
Are there changes in terms of whether we're in virtual or in person? Seeing none, then we'll continue in person. Reports. I had a great experience on, Saturday evening, or Saturday from 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock. I do monthly ride-alongs with patrol and rotate district. The city's divided into 3 districts, and so I was in District 3, APD District 3, last Saturday evening with a patrol officer, Pedro Moreno, extraordinary officer in the United States Army for 9 years before coming to the Aurora Police Department in 2022, and just very impressive young man. The boundaries for District 3, APD District 3, are everything south of Jewel Avenue on the east side of I-225. And so I encourage everybody to do that. Also, on Sunday, last Sunday, I just remember the most recent stuff, I went to a grand opening for Lucky Strike, a new entertainment venue over at Southlands Mall Shopping Center, and watched Councilmember Bergen bowl.
I did bowl.
She did bowl.
And you did not.
I did not, but I posed like I was going to bowl. And but what an extraordinary venue, and it always pleases me when businesses have the kind of confidence in our city to make that kind of investment. It's a 36-lane bowling lane venue with a huge arcade and a restaurant and a bar, really far beyond that of a normal bowling alley. And so I think it's going to be a real asset to the Southlands Mall in terms of bringing people there. And so I look forward to their success. Councilmember Gardner. Councilmember Jurenski.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. First and foremost, I would just like to put out that our animal shelter is in desperate need of donations. They have been posting this daily over and over and over. I can only send so many Amazon wish list packages on my own. So I am encouraging the public, I'm encouraging my colleagues. They have an Amazon wish list. You can look them up on their Facebook page, their social media pages. You can go through the list and just add items to your cart. It'll ship directly to the animal shelter, but they're in pretty dire need. I want to thank the Salvation Army for reaching out to me and coming alongside me to go into one of the impacted apartment complexes in Aurora. We handed out 200 boxes of food, and it really turned out to be a community event. There were several homeless people that came to receive food and to get some help. They were handing out some other things too, hand warmers, various things. So thank you so much to the Salvation Army for coming alongside me and for even reaching out to me. I attended the A-list dinner, Aurora Economic Development Council's A-list dinner to celebrate various economic development projects in Aurora. The speaker was hysterical. If you have heard of Fortune. She is a hysterical comedian. So that was a great time. And then last week I attended the annual Havana Business District meeting, and there was Councilmember Hancock was with me, and it was a pretty packed house for this one. It was one of the largest crowds I think I had seen at one of the annual Havana bid meetings. So I love seeing the business owners get involved. I love seeing the community get involved. They're speaking up, they're speaking out, and it was a really productive meeting. Nothing else.
Councilmember Coombs.
Thank you, Mayor. Yesterday, I had the opportunity, or Saturday, to attend the 45th birthday party for the Aurora History Museum. And there were quite a few people there, including the founding director, as well as a number of other founding members of the museum. The museum continues to be in significant need of space for the objects that represent the city's history, both distant past and more recent past, and they were raising funds for that purpose to make sure we have places to put things so they aren't getting flooded when water invariably gets into the basement of the Aurora History Museum. In one case, it was due to water leak, but there have also been instances where just a lot of water is coming in from the outside into the museum. So thank you to the folks that came and supported that need. I also just want to thank Kylan's family for their continued tenacity and express my condolences, my sadness that there continues to be a sense of no justice for that family and for our community members who support them. We've also been receiving consistent calls for folks to asking that we as a council affirm our commitment, our respect, our value for our immigrant communities, that we as a community come together and support the immigrants in our community, that we not support mass deportation plans, demonizing, and hate toward our immigrant communities. And to me, that's incredibly important. Immigrants make up more than 20% of the residents of the city of Aurora, and they are what make our city great. They're many of the business owners on the Havana Business Improvement District, as well as elsewhere throughout our city. And then I just want to also note that I have been, as well, receiving very regular and ongoing outreach from folks living at the properties affected by the failed management of CBZ and their related LLCs, which is a failure on their part of management, but also a failure on our part of policy that would protect people who are still without heat, hot water, have rodent infestations and mold in their homes. There are things that we can do from a policy standpoint that we should do, and I look forward to working with my colleagues to revisit and rectify the policy issues that have made it difficult to properly enforce these code violations, and to recognize that in fact what we are doing is not enough and is not working just the way it is, unless it was designed to create the conditions that we see.
Councilmember Murillo.
Thanks, Mayor. I have my last town hall of the year this Thursday. Hope to see you all there. Aurora Sister, I sit on the board as the city council liaison for Aurora Sister Cities. And we had one of our meetings, regular meetings, this last Saturday, and we talked a lot about strategic planning. The last meeting, I gave an update about our annual gala and the success that we had in hosting that event. and continuing to brainstorm new and different ways that we can continue to support the organization, support our sister cities. And we had not only the board, but the liaisons for the different sister city chapters. I believe we have 3 that were represented there. So lots of engagement and input. Thank you to Visit Aurora for hosting Aurora Sister Cities in that regard. And wanted to echo Councilmember Coombs's comments, getting messages in the Ward 1 apartment complexes, concerns, continuing evolving, not just from residents in the complex, but around the complex, people frustrated that we, have allowed the situation to get to where it is, and asking for folks in the city to continue to step in and hold CBZ management accountable for the situation that they created. So I hope that we can continue to apply pressure and hold them accountable for abdicating their responsibility to the community and maintaining a safe environment, maintaining those properties, and recognize the impact that it has on the residents, immediate residents, and frankly, the neighbors surrounding the property too. They're also deeply impacted. Sending my thoughts to the Kylan Lewis family. I know it's not easy to come here week after week and to feel like, as Councilmember Coombs stated, that justice wasn't reached. So, I want to continue to support your advocacy and offer my condolences. I know that's not easy.
Councilmember Sundberg.
Thanks, Mayor. Driving down Iliff a few days ago, I saw some gentlemen in safety vests and some kids in safety vests with full trash bags and little tongs to pick up trash. I stopped to commend them on their efforts and learned that they were part of the Omega Psi Phi historically black fraternity, and they were cleaning up trash along Iliff to Blackhawk to Chambers as part of their keep Aurora clean on the signage program, and I learned more about their community involvement, which is pretty active. I went to a CML Better Governance class on a snowy day, and then later went to the A-List event on a snowy day. I attended a coffee with a cop with Councilwoman Hancock at the Target on Havana Street. The management there, who has suffered great pilferage and loss from shoplifting, is happy about new police leadership and a new police commander there who they feel is very proactive. A couple of companies that are excited about doing business in Aurora are Game Day Men's Health Center. There's a couple that moved from Utah to come open up 3 of these locations here. They're excited about Aurora. So, Mayor, if you need to get your T levels checked, if you need any other male enhancement needs, this is the place to go. There's a great staff there. And then secondly, Family General has opened up a warehouse campus in Ward 2, just under 1 million square feet, big enough to put 16 football fields in there. They can hold 76,000 full pallets eventually. That's enough to stretch from DIA 15 miles past Boulder. An amazing facility. They care a lot about their staff. Support Food Bank of the Rockies, support literature and learning. I saw Councilmember Coombs briefly at the History Museum, where I bid on a couple of wreaths. Yep, and they are in desperate need of storage space. Seems like we could solve this. Maybe we've got an extra city building. Maybe if there's a private person out there with extra space and a passion for Aurora history, they could help us with some space to store some of our relics. But Laura Perry's working on that, and I'm sure it's going to work out fine.
Shout out to Laura Perry.
Okay. Councilmember Medina. Not here. Councilmember Hancock.
Thank you, Mayor. I had the opportunity to represent the city at the 2024 Fitzsimmons Aurora Medical Campus Foundation Breakfast. Got to do a speech It's pretty cool. They raised $500,000 for patient research and clinical outcomes that are positive in our community. And I know, Mayor, you are a big supporter of the campus over there and the ongoing research that they're doing for the community, which was super great. And I met some amazing people who are doing really terrific work. Tomorrow, I'll be at the United States Air Force Academy for a veterans breakfast, meet and collaborative effort, again, representing the mayor. Being an Air Force veteran, it's appropriate for me to be there, so I'm looking forward to that. I have found a new space for my quarterly town halls, so if you get my newsletter, you will get that information. We'll be beginning again in January. Again, joining Councilmember Sundberg at Coffee with a Cop. That was really nice to see our guys out there and, you know, just interacting with the community, letting folks know that, yeah, we've had some struggles, but our cops are doing a really good job. So, you know, maybe spend less time beating them up and maybe just give them a high five every once in a while. I think it goes a long way. I mean, being a police officer working in law enforcement is probably one of the most thankless jobs that anyone can do, but we count on our cops for our safety and security. And when you're in trouble, who are you gonna call? Not Ghostbusters. You're going to call APD, and we hope that they come. We know that they will come to the rescue. And for those of you who need to reach out to me and get my quarterly or my bi-monthly newsletter, you can reach out to me at shancock@auroragov.org. I'd be happy to share with you information about what we're doing in Ward 4. And one last shout out to Havana Bid. That thing at the Stampede, their annual meeting was really terrific. You can eat at over 100 countries up and down the Havana corridor. We truly are an international city. We celebrate that, we champion that, and despite what anyone else would say about it, we are celebratory of immigrants and refugees in our community, those who want to contribute and to be stakeholders in their lives and to really add their flavor to the city that I love. And with that, that's the end of my report.
Councilmember Lawson.
Thank you, Mayor. So tomorrow is my final town hall. It will be at Central Rec Center.
Of the year.
Of the year, yes. Not ever. Of the year. Thank you, Mayor, for that correction. Of the year, it will be tomorrow at 6:30 to 8 at the Central Rec Center, and we will have Chief Todd Chamberlain. He will be presenting as well as updates as well. Also on the 23rd, on Saturday, I will be meeting with the Heather Gardens National Federation of the Blind. They're going to be talking about some of the concerns they have with paratransit issues, and so we're going to have someone from RTD as well as from the city. We did get a grant of $680,000. Laura, thank you so much for that effort, and $170,000 from the city council from the ARPA dollars. I just couldn't remember. And so we were able to get funding for that. Is it ARPA dollars? Am I wrong? I can't remember.
2023 council set aside.
Oh, okay, yes, sorry, set aside. So we were able to get that amount of money to actually get transit for our older adults throughout the city. So we're going to have a discussion with them on the 23rd. So thank you, Laura, for getting that together. And that's the end of my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Bergen.
Thank you, Mayor.
A bowling star.
I did attend the E470 Executive Committee as well as our regular board meeting where we had to approve several contracts, also discussed Adams County Trail IGA and also Crestone Mineral Rights sale or lease. We ended up continuing with a lease and not taking the offer for a sale. My town hall is this Wednesday the 20th at the Towns Reach Library from 6 to 8, and we will have someone do presentation on election results for Colorado, as well as on the ballot initiatives for Colorado. And then our police area representatives will be there to discuss just updates from police and also take questions from constituents as they always do. And then I will also have my general updates with a Q&A to follow. I did also go to the Lucky Strike, the mayor and I, and also Andrea Amanek from our city, and it was really fun, and they did a fantastic job with the grand opening. I did bowl. I didn't do well, but, you know, I'm going to practice and go back. But upon leaving, what one of the ladies told me upon leaving, she said that, and I was there probably a couple hours, that 983 guests had entered the Lucky Strike for the grand opening, and they still were seeing people coming in. So I bet you they probably hit 1,000. It's going to be a great catalyst for the area in terms of bringing in more sales revenue to the city. This was kind of a deal that we worked on with the Nordstrom Rack. It was a combined incentive program. And I just want to say to my colleagues, this took years and years to get a bowling alley in our area. And it took a lot of pushing from me to the shopping center owners. But then really congratulations to the owners because they did pursue it. It took them several years as well to get the deal done. These are not easy deals. And so anyway, we're just thrilled to have them here. Maybe we'll get some more in the city. And then lastly, I attended the Infrastructure Task Force meeting, and of course we had our PED Policy Committee. So I think that, yep, that's my report. Thank you very much.
Seeing no further business before the Aurora City Council, the meeting is adjourned.